Well,
Yeah, well, it's just a bunch of names,
Yeah, just a bunch of names.
Yeah,
which actually,
tongue twisters.
yeah, actually with the names, you probably need more time
Yeah, because they
Yes.
they
because they don't necessarily make sense.
And some of them are so unusual, we haven't heard them before.
I know.
no,
Well,
So
biblically,
line
remember,
13.
especially in Genesis, almost everybody has a unique name.
Mm.
Yeah, to make life miserable for
So
everyone
you
else to
not
say
only
it
didn't hear them before, but you, in most cases, won't hear them again.
again.
and the names aren't after natural phenomena. River. I just met a woman named River.
Oh, that's you
Meadow.
must have been watching Doctor Who.
No, it was a doctor's assistant who helped me.
Okay.
The main character in a fairly long series of Doctor Who is River Song.
Oh.
But these names were just had no relationship to any meaning.
Oh,
All right.
I'm sure they all did have relationship to some meaning. In some cases, they may have been the names of towns, villages, cities within those tribal confines, which would then explain why those towns, villages, cities were called that.
Mhm.
In
Okay.
some cases, when we get important people for the overall story of the children of Israel, we get the etymology of their name within their naming. So Yitzchak is named, and Sarah tells us why, and
Mhm.
Esav is named, and we're told why, and Yaakov is named, and we're told why, and Binyamin is named, and we're told why, and actually all of the 12 sons, Reuben is named, and we're told because he's being the firstborn. Leah says, "Look, a son. Now my husband will like me."
So what
And so we get those. But here, where the names are given, we're not given the reason for the naming. And part of it may have been that these are not crucial names to the actual thread of the story that will take us into Exodus and beyond, and was not really crucial to the story at the time that it was being told or written down, and partially because possibly everybody knew what those names were within that particular story hearing group.
These mothers must have fun calling their children.
Oh yeah.
How about Yisas Char? That's my grandfather's name.
Oh.
Great grandfather's name.
Yeah, so Issachar is one of the 12 sons, and so in those cases, when each of the boys is born, either Leah or Rachel will say, "I called him because of this," or Jacob will say, "We called him this." And in some cases, the mother names the child. In some cases, the father names the child in Genesis.
But so do we really, is there a word Isaac, that root that is used in Hebrew, ancient or current?
Not current, but again, if you go back to the actual birth of Yissachar, it says he's named this, because of my hope, because of my whatever.
But the hope is in with the same root?
Well, in some cases the name actually makes sense in the connection. In some cases, like Yisrael, you wrestled with God, and then we get a different word. So sometimes it doesn't necessarily follow, or Moshe, because he was drawn out of the waters, except that wasn't really the word.
Okay, so verse 13, fourth word.
Okay. Ufuva.
Oh gosh.
Okay, that's what I
So
thought.
the
I never.
Can you
the
highlight
at
the
the
word?
beginning, is the beginning is the and.
Where are you? Can you highlight it?
We're here. I'm assuming this was the one you wanted.
Yes.
So is and then Fuva is the boy's name.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Almost sounds like an old car horn.
Yeah, either that or he was the grand poobah.
So is
Okay.
Joseph because he continued or something?
So again, there's no etymology given. But we know that it's fuva. The fe has the vowel, so the next thing needs to be a consonant, which is the vav, and then the vav needs a vowel, which is the ah. So the dot in the middle of the vav is again a dot there for other purposes.
Okay, thank you.
But is that called a vav? Because isn't the other alabate vate? That's vate. What is the difference between putting a vate and a vav?
Meaning,
Yeah, why it just changes?
because the root word of vet is going to be a different word than the root word of vav.
Mhm.
The house. But
Can I ask about the first word? I always get confused where that final yud changes the sound of the vowel that comes before.
Okay, well, in the A, remember the A and the E, the yud is already part of the vowel, so there's nothing to change.
I see.
It's only in the I, the oi, and the ui at the end of the word where the yud is not normally part of the vowel.
So the A and the E.
The A, as in uvne,
Yeah.
yud can be part of it at the end of the word or in the middle of the word.
Mhm.
The same thing with the E, at the end of the word
Yeah.
or in the middle of the word.
Mm.
The yud's already part of the vowel.
Did you say uvene or uvne?
Uvne.
nay.
I was just saying uvne, putting it into its just emphasizing what's there in it. But uvne Yisrael, uvne Shimon. And some you'll hear a little there because it's hard to get from a v to a n.
Mm.
So when you're reading quickly, when you're reading slowly, you go uv, nay, and you make the pause. When you're reading quickly and you get the two consonants in a row, you get uv, nay, and you get a little bit of to get from the v to the n. That's just a reading process, a speaking process. But you're thinking uv, nay, you're thinking uv, pause, nay. When people give speeches, and they make a pause while they're thinking about what they're going to say next, they'll sometimes say,
Yep.
So our uhs are sometimes our pauses. And then your homiletics teacher, your speech teacher tells you to stop using so many uhs.
So I have a question.
So the most. Okay, sorry.
The word just before 12, that you pronounce the mem.
Okay, so again, it's
And
Wait.
there's a u or a v or a va, and then you have a consonant with a schwa. Do you usually pronounce it? Like I noticed a lot of these names you do pronounce it, but when do you not pronounce it?
so a couple of things. One is ease of speaking, and another is the root word, emphasizing what the root word was. So here, technically, you might read as ra ri, ra ri. But the guy's name is Merari. The u is just
Oh.
and. So when it's his name by itself, it's Merari.
Hmm.
But and again, when you're speaking, you're going to think umrari, you're going to think the pause, but you may be saying umrari as just to get from the mem, or you might say Merari and Merari.
I like that name.
So, okay. So when we're reading, we just go umrari.
Right, exactly. So you can, Carrie, you can name your next dog Merari.
Oh, yes. Although Hal says there's no more, but I will.
Then you can
And
teach
Dave
the dog
says the
to,
same thing.
you'll teach the dog to say its name. It'll go Merari.
Yep.
Look, my dog can talk.
Not in a hurry, huh?
All right, so verse 10. Uvnei Shimon, Yemuel, v'yamin, v'ohad, v'yachin, v'tzochar, v'Shaul ben Haknaanit. So Shaul gets an interesting tagline to his name.
Yes.
So Uvenei Shimon. So now the sons of Shimon are Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yachin, Sochar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman.
Mhm.
Is that the king?
Well, so the later king will have that same name. This name would have been known certainly in the time of Saul, in the time moving from the judges to the kingship, and is the biblical author of the book of Samuel, sort of casting aspersions upon the first king who created no lineage and had problems with his son and son's best friend, and saying, this guy is named after an ancient son of a Canaanite, which was not a nice thing to say about someone.
No,
Mhm.
like
And
today,
what-
son of a gun.
Are you talking about Shawel, or which is the name that you're?
Shaul.
Shaul.
Shaul is the boy's name. And
Shaul.
we're told that he's the Ben HaKanaanit, Ben of the
Right.
Canaanite woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the Shimon story, Shimon marries somebody that we don't know and marries a Canaanite woman.
How do you know it's a woman? What part of that tells you it?
Kanaanit,
Anit?
the t ending.
So
A male Canaanite is a Kanaani. A Kanaani is a male Canaanite. A Kanaanit is a female Canaanite.
So is Shaul Saul?
Well, Shaul is the Hebrew name that we often translate as Saul.
Mm-hmm.
But here, there's nothing remarkable about Shaul other than apparently he's the son of either a side hustle or a mistress or a maidservant.
Why is
I
it?
know. So.
Can I ask why there? It starts out with uvne, for son of, and then
Sons plural,
sons. Oh, that's sons.
sons of.
I see, Ben,
The
and then
son of Shimon would be Ben Shimon,
I see.
Okay.
Okay,
like Ben Haknaanit. He's just one son of a Canaanite woman.
I see.
So thrown into the story here with no further statements, no further story, and no reminder of any previous story. Whereas in some of the children of the 12 sons, we will get reminders of previous stories. But here, no reminder, no further statement, just Shimon has 5 sons from apparently an Israelitish woman, although where he got her from, we have no idea. And he's got a son of a Canaanite woman.
Might be a female Ger.
Remembering that the rabbis are going to play with a later statement and say that Shaul's other sons are the sons of one of his brother's twin sisters.
One of his brothers.
Because otherwise, where did all of these boys get Canaanite and Israelite women? Some of them might have been old enough to marry off while they were still living back and growing up with Lavan. Maybe, again, not nowhere in the Torah, so wide open for Midrash. We can have the story of Jacob when he runs off in Carrie's reading from yesterday. One of the things he carried off was enough of the cousins, enough of the Aramean family women to marry off all of his sons later when they were going to need to be married.
But were they servants though?
Were they future brides? Were they servants? We don't get any story that they even existed. Therefore, but these boys all have wives, and apparently all of their wives are acceptable except for the wife, one of the wives of Shimon, who married a local girl.
What?
So all the rest of the boys must have married not local girls. Where did they get the local girls from?
Wait.
The Torah doesn't tell us, so we get to Midrash.
But you say them, wait, but you say they married, but they're not saying they're married.
Well, they had
Yes.
to create
They
wives.
had children.
Yes, they had to create some vessel for their children.
Hmm.
Whether they were formally married or simply took them along as mothers to their children.
Or slaves.
Somehow you need to have, to get a child, in most of the biblical story, you need to have a mother.
You
Yep.
think?
But we don't
Not
think
all
of,
of the biblical stories, just most of them.
That's
but we
right.
don't think of them as servants or slaves.
They
We
don't
don't talk
exist in
about
the,
that.
the wives of the 12 sons don't exist at all in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this particular statement would make it clear that for the most part, those wives were acceptable.
Right.
And we know that Yitzchak and Rivka said local women are not acceptable. So therefore, where did all of these boys get non-local women to wife?
Hmm.
Okay.
And thus the Midrash could be that Jacob, having known that he had to go back there to get a wife because a local girl wasn't accepted, and now having 11 sons, figured I better bring along enough women or girls or babies, females, so that when they all grow up, my sons can find wives among these women. What those women were doing, you have to put in the Midrash, since they don't even exist in the Torah anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the I think remarkable thing is that Shaul is specifically mentioned as a son of a Canaanite woman.
Hmm.
And now moving on, so we had Reuben last week, firstborn. Now we have Shimon, secondborn. Now we have Levi, Uvnei Levi, 11. Uvnei Levi, Gershom, Kahat, Umerari. Now those are going to be names that will show up later because the Levitical tribes, the Levitical names do have some story to be told later. But right now we simply, again, unremarkably know that the sons of Levi are Gershon, Kahat, and Merari. Another point about the Torah text and the use of the conjunction and. Since there's no punctuation, therefore no commas, whether it be an Oxford comma or any other comma, we don't know when an and doesn't exist, whether in fact the boy had two names or whether it's two boys.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So for midrashic purposes, you can read this as Uvnei Levi, Gershon Kahat,
Right.
Merari.
Right. So that could just be two sons.
Would be two sons, one
Right.
Gershon Kahat and the other Merari.
Mm-hmm.
Can you highlight more?
So here, Gershon Kahat, there's no and in between them. But if you look at verse 10, Yamul v'yamin v'ohad v'yachin v'tzochar v'shaul, you get
Yeah.
and.
Huh.
Here
Yeah.
you get Gershon, no and, Kahat, then an and, Merari. So do you read this verse
Yeah.
11 as Uvnei Levi, Gershon, Kahat, Merari?
It
Or do
seems
you read
more
it as
likely it's one word.
Uvnei
It's two
Levi,
words.
Gershon, Kahat, Merari?
Well, it seems like it makes sense that it's one name, one person, because otherwise they would have put a V.
Except that the votes seem to be a little bit random sometimes. For example, in the Daughters of Slochad, which you'll get in about 10 years, the girls' names are listed in different places with different ands between different names.
So we really don't know.
So we don't know. And sometimes as a clue, people will look to the trope.
Hmm.
Do you sing it as Gershon Kahat, or do you sing it as Gershon Kahat?
Yeah.
But that's just the interpretation that some
But
places.
exactly, but
Yeah.
that's already still interpretation.
Yeah. If only it told us how many children there were, we could figure it out.
Well, you can figure it out because we're going to get a count.
Oh.
However, the count includes wives whose names aren't mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, a puzzle.
So moving on to 12.
Back to Levi, he had sons who had the wrong incense or something.
Well, that's going to be actually sons of Aaron,
Oh, right, okay.
several generations later.
So,
Shimon and Levi, you will recall in a previous story, were the ones who played a few tricks on behalf of their daughter, their sister Dinah.
Yes.
But that's not mentioned here. That will be mentioned in their names later in their blessing. But right now, we're just getting the names of their children. Verse 12, we move on to a long verse because it's Yehuda. And Yehuda is going to be a big name because he becomes the tribe of the southern kingdom. Even though this is now an E story, the story of the northern kingdom. But Uvene Yehuda, va'onan, v'shelah, va'feretz, v'zarach, vayamot va'onan be'eretz Canaan, vayhiyu v'nei peretz, chetzron, v'chamul. So Uvene Yehuda, now the sons of Judah were
Yeah.
and Onan and Shelah, and then now it's Va rather than V, so it's sort of an and, Peretz and Zarach. And then Vayamot is not the name of a, yep, bye-bye. Here's our friends who, from Miami, who saw snow for their first time.
Oh,
Hi, Miami friends.
hi.
And we're very cold.
And we're popsicles on the team.
Thank you. Bye, Sam.
And did you look in the dining room? I mean, in the living room?
No,
Go look in the living room on your way out.
let me give you a hug. Bye.
Hi, Jenny.
Thank you for the interruption.
Okay. I love that nice pink coat.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Peretz and Zarach, and then Vayamot, we've got an and, but that's not a name of a son. That's Yamot died. Mate is died.
Oh, yes.
So Vayamot and died, and Onan, the Eretz Canaan, and Onan died in the land of Canaan. So we do get a reminder of some previous stories. You recall and Onan died from some mysterious illness from the wife, and then Shelah was the son who was supposed to marry the leveret, the brotherly duty, but
Yeah, but he didn't want.
Judah kept delaying, and Judah ends up getting Tamar, his daughter-in-law, pregnant, and then that's Peretz and Zarach. So this is a reminder, very briefly, of a long Judah story way back when.
Yep.
And then Vayiyu v'nei Peretz, Chetzron v'chamul, and Peretz grows up enough during this time period to have his own sons. So we have Judah grandsons, Chetzron and Chamul, who are his grandsons through his daughter-in-law.
Mm,
So all of that packed into one verse.
wow.
Uvenei Yissachar, now the sons of Yissachar were Tola and Fuva and Yov and Shimron. And Yissachar was the next born. And it's Ufuva simply because of, again, the Fuva would have been harder to say. And so the U replaces the V just based on some ease of pronunciation. 14. Uvenei Zevulun, and now the sons of Zevulun. Uvenei Zevulun, Sered, Ve'elon, Ve'yachleel. And so the sons of Zevulun were Sered and Elon and Yachleel. 15, Ela b'nei Leah. So now those were all the sons of Leah. And you recall that 4 of the sons were born up through Yehuda, and then Rachel's maidservant has some sons, and then Zilpah, Leah's maidservant, has some sons, and then Leah finally has 2 more sons. So we're not given their birth order now in the family, we're given their birth order by the maternal parentage. So Leah's children are all grouped together as one group. And Ela b'nei Leah, verse 15, Asher yalda leYaakov b'fadan Aram, ve'et Dina bito, kol nefesh banav uvenotav shloshim v'shalosh. So Ela b'nei Leah, so these are the sons of Leah. Asher yalda leYaakov, that she birthed to Yaakov, b'fadan Aram, in Padan Aram, back when he was still working off his debt to his father-in-law, and Dinah, her daughter. So Dinah is still in the story, but nothing is reminded in the story about Dinah.
So Dina, his daughter?
Dinah Bito, his daughter. That's the children of Leah, Dinah, his daughter. Not Dinah Vita, but Dinah Vito. Dinah, his daughter. So kol nefesh banav uvenotav, all soul, every soul of his sons and his daughters, which is strange because we only got one daughter named,
Right.
is shloshim v'shalosh, 33. So the Leah group of the family is 33 people. You did not get 33 names.
Nope.
So where are the, you can count the names you're given, and the difference between 33 and that is how many women, wives, were
Right.
there. But they're not called his sons and his daughters-in-law. They're called his sons and his daughters. So that gives you opportunity for midrash. We only know one daughter. Where did the rest of the daughters come from?
Where's the word for daughters?
Benotav. Benot is daughters. Bat is daughter. Benot is daughters. Benotav, his daughters. And as far as this Torah has told us, Jacob, Yaakov, does not have daughters, he has daughter. So one midrash resolved that by saying that these daughters were the unnamed twin girls of each of the boys who was born, thus keeping the genetic structure within the family and giving those boys an opportunity to have wives who were not locals in Canaan. But they could have been women that they married while they were in Padan Aram, which would have then been appropriate local girls, because they would have been from the family, the extended family. Or again, the midrash that I offered earlier, that Jacob, knowing that his boys were going to grow up and need wives, brought along a bunch of girls, and he could have adopted all of those girls in order to hold claim over them, and then married them off to each of the boys as the boys got old enough.
So what happened to the, when did the tradition of passing the religion from mother to child happen?
In a much later era, when the parentage of a child could be known by the mother, and therefore to guarantee that the child was not the progeny of a rape or pogrom or some other outside influence, you were given legal status within the Jewish community by virtue of being the daughter of a Jewish mother.
But if you were raped, you would still be the daughter of a Jewish mother. Why wouldn't?
Because tribe is handed down through the father. So Judaism was handed down from father to child until the uncertainty of the fatherness came into pop too often, and therefore the child of a Jewish father who was not actually the offspring of the father couldn't be Jewish, but the father needed to have a Jewish child, so the mother could be a whole historical development.
So the midrash of Adina, she's single, has no children and no husband.
Well, in the Torah, there was a inseminator of Dinah, possibly, but he wasn't a Jewish man, so the child couldn't be of the tribe. The Torah has no offspring of Dinah. However, the Torah has no non-offspring of Dinah, no statement there were none. So you can write a midrash of Dinah's children.
Couple.
So I'm confused. If during the pogroms,
This would have been in probably Roman and post-Roman period.
oh, not the 20th century pogroms.
No, this is 1800 years ago.
Yeah. So at what point did it pass to the offspring of the mother?
1800 years ago.
Oh,
Post-biblically, which is why Ruth has to convert.
Oh,
Because the child is the child of the father. But she converts so that she can be part of the tribe.
Wait a minute, how is she a child of a father and not of a mother?
So, because in biblically, your tribe was handed down, that's why Slavkad's daughters have a problem. Their tribal inheritance of their children would revert to their father, their husband, not to their father, not through their name. So Slavkad's daughters say, our children belong in our tribe, not in the tribe of their father, of our husbands.
so Ruth's parents, the mother was Jewish and the father not?
There aren't any. Because if the father wasn't Jewish, then the child is lost. If the father's not a tribe.
Right. So that's why she converted.
Well, anyway, Ruth is a whole nother story.
Okay.
So the children, so it's 33, you can go back and count. 16. Uvenei Gad, Sifyon, V'chagi, Shuni, V'etzbon, Eri, V'arodi, V'areli. So apparently God was quite a parent. And again, we're never told how many wives create these children. But the children of God are Sifyon and Chagi and Shuni and Etzbon and Eri and Arodi and Areli. So apparently he got a lot less creative as his later sons came along. 17.
X-bone, no bones.
Uvenei Asher, Yimna, V'yishva, v'yishvi, uvriah, v'serach, achotam, uvnei vriah, chever, umalkiel. So now with Asher, he's going to have Yimna, and he's going to have Yishva, and then he's going to have Yishvi,
Mm.
and then he's going to have Vriah, and then he's going to have Serach, their sister. So we get another daughter. Serach is the daughter of Asher. Serach bat Asher. So again, a girl is named and claimed to be a girl, the sister of those brothers with very creative names, Yishva and Yishvi. And she is the daughter of Asher. And Vriah, the youngest born child, has two sons, Chever and Malkiel. Gad and Asher are the sons of Zilpah, the maidservant of Leah. So they, again, not birth order, but sort of a Jacobian, a Yacovian ranking of the order of the children that he was ready to sacrifice when he was coming back to confront Esav. Because remember, he put Leah in front and her children, and then Zilpah, and then Bilhah, and then finally Rachel. So these are, including Gad and Asher, these are the Leah tribes. Ela b'nei Zilpah asher natan Lavan leLeah vito vateled et Ela liYaakov shesh esrei nafesh. 18, these are then the sons of Zilpah that Lavan gave to Leah, Asher Natan Lavan, that gave Lavan leLeah to Leah, Bito, his daughter, Vateled, and she birthed et Ela, these, she birthed theseans, liYaakov, to Yaakov, shesh esrei nafesh, 16 souls. And what do you get?
Another day older and deeper and deeper.
There you go.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
So again, obviously, the children of Leah do not come to 16 that are named.
Right. Okay.
So the rest of the 16 would have been whatever girls were involved in their parenting, mothering, wifing, or any other midrash you want. 19, Uvenei Rachel, Eshet Yaakov. Rachel suddenly is the wife of Yaakov, the woman of Yaakov. Leah was not the woman of Yaakov. She was not Eshet Yaakov. So, Venei Rachel, Eshet Yaakov, Yosef, Uvinyamin. So Rachel just has two sons, Joseph and Benjamin. Yosef and Binyamin. Vayevaled liYosef be'eretz Mitzrayim, asher yaldalo Asnat bat Potiphera, Kohen on, et Menashe ve'et Ephraim. And now we get into the reminder of why this is in the blue story. This is really not the Judah story. This is the Joseph story. So Joseph gets extra information. Vayivaled liYosef, and was born or birthed to Yosef, be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, asher yaldalo, that birthed to him Asnat, the daughter of Potiphera, the priest of On, and then we get the names of the boys, Menashe and Ephraim. But notice Asnat, the daughter of Potiphera, the priest of On, gets extra verbiage. Because this is the Joseph story and ultimately the Ephraim story.
Mm.
Are we gonna get Benjamin too next time?
So next week, this is what you get next week that you'll be practicing for our last week of the fiscal year, the 2024 year. Uvnei Binyamin.
Hey, there we go.
Back again.
And just to point out a couple of things, so we get the children of Benjamin, and then we get, these are the children of Rachel, and we're going to get a number which is Arba'a Asar, 14. So the children of Rachel are 14, and we get 2 names and a couple of grandchildren. So again, there are a bunch of women there that are part of these entourage of Yaakov. Then you're going to get Dan and Naphtali, who are going to be, we're reminded, were the 25, the children of Bilhah, the other maidservant. And then 26 is going to tell us how many people came down to Egypt, which will have been Shishim V'Sheish, 66, plus the 4 that are already there. And the 4 that are there are Joseph, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Asnat bat Potiphera Kohen On.
Was the Kohen Ode, was he a part of the tribe, the Kohen?
He was a priest of the area of On of Egypt.
So he's not Jewish.
He's not Jewish, which means Asnat is not Jewish, and nowhere is she converted. So therefore, she becomes part of the tribe because she's among the 4 that are down there. But the tribe is the tribe of Joseph, and so therefore the parentage is through the father. Then next week, we go back and wrap up the red story, which of course does take us back to Judah, because remember, the red story is really the Judah story. The blue story is the Yosef story, and that's why the Yosef and really Ephraim story, and that's why the blue story takes so much extra time in giving the various tribal lineages, takes extra time to talk about what was up with Joseph. And again, remembering that very often you want to know what the point of the story was, you have to go to the punchline. And the punchline is B'nai Yosef.
Ah.
So here's your reading that you'll be practicing for next week. Uvnei Binyamin, Bela, Vafecher, Vashbel, Agera, and notice no Vav, so we're not quite sure what to do with that. V'Naaman, Echi, Varoshi, Mupim, V'Chupim, V'Ard. Now, Benjamin, you will recall, was a little boy at home. He was too young to leave, and all of a sudden he's got all these children.
Mhm.
How did you pronounce that last name?
Ard.
Ar?
Ard.
Oh, that's a Dalit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ard.
Okay.
He was the pirate son.
Yes.
Heard it.
All right, keep it going. 22, Ela b'nei Rachel asher yulad liYaakov kol nefesh arba'a asar. 23, V'nei Dan, Hushim.
Okay. That's
The
it.
children of Dan, 1.
Yep.
Uvnei Naphtali, Yakseel, Veguni. Made a movie about that boy many years later. Yetzer, Veshilem.
Well,
Ela b'nei Vilcha, asher natan Lavan l'Rachel bito, vateled et Ela liYaakov, kol nefesh shiv'ah. Kol Kol hanefesh haba'a liYaakov Mitzrayma yotzei Yerecho milvad Nishei v'nei Yaakov Kol nefesh shishim v'shesh. 27. Uvnei Yosef asher yulad lo b'Mitzrayim nefesh shnayim kol hanefesh le Veit Yaakov haba'a Mitzrayma shiv'im. 28. Vet Yehuda shalach lefanav el Yosef lehorot lefanav Goshna vayavo artsa Goshen. 29. Vayasor Yosef Merkavto Vaya'al Likrat Yisrael Aviv Goshna Vayera Elav Vayipol Al Tzavarav Vayevk Al Tzavarav Od. 30. Vayomer Yisrael El Yosef Amuta Hapa'am Acharei Ra'oti Et Panecha Ki Odcha Chai.
Bye.
So you've got your work cut out for you.
Rabbi Sam, I have a question about Sarah, since she's the only